I feel like I have to do something really dramatic right now. Like, what?
Starting with fixing your camera because it is stuck and very blurry.
Is it?
You
Um,
are stuck,
okay.
unfortunately, Darko.
I don't
News
know.
for you.
I don't
Hmm.
know.
Let
Mm,
me quickly say hi to our viewers before or while you fix that quickly. So, welcome everybody to this week's session of AWS Africa Office Hours, where it's similar to some of our other AMA slash Office Hours sessions, where we will take technical questions about AWS and answer those for you. Also, if you've got general AWS questions, feel free to pop those in the chat as well. And we have lost Darko. He is busy fixing things. I will continue to then try and entertain you. So what we want to do in this session is that we want people to throw questions at us, and we try and help you with any technical issues or challenge you're currently having with building on AWS. But like I said, we are also more than happy to take questions about AWS in general. We've often had discussion around what it's like working here, the culture here, etc. So please send those questions our way. And just quickly double checking over here. We do seem to be live on everything. I want to make sure everything worked. And to start off us today, I pressed the magic button. I programmed, let me see if I can actually get it into the camera. Maybe. So I've got one of these, which is an Elgato Stream Link. And this button, that button over there is now a button that says the AWS Africa office hours are going live. So I hope that tweet went out with an attachment if all went well. So let me quickly check that while we click around a little bit and wait for some people to join us. But for those that have joined already, welcome. And yeah, Alex Smasher, welcome. Also, it's not actually a new deck. I've had this for more than a year, and I constantly use it. It's just now I'm starting to expand it a little bit more. So let me just quickly double check because I'm very curious to see if that tweet did go out. Let's see. Tick,
it
tick,
did.
tick,
It
tick,
did. It
tick.
did. It
It
did.
did.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
You just got a like from me.
Awesome. Oh, I'm glad you like me, Doc. I'm so happy.
By the way, I don't know what happened with my camera. I guess it's okay now. I'm actually just monitoring Twitch to see if I break again because on StreamYard I look fine. But I guess when it goes bad, it goes bad.
It goes really bad, Doc. It's terrible. Okay, so let me quickly do that as well because we did have some issues with Twitch the other day. Let me just confirm that everything is,
Yeah,
everything's
Twitch is going fine. I mean, it should be going fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right now I can see myself in stereo. That's nice. Cool. What have you been doing in the last day, or 12 hours, or 4 hours? That's been fun.
Last 4 hours, emails, and
Same.
but I've been actually preparing for in the last couple of days. I've submitted my first deck for reInvent, so it has been a race to finish off my deck, and I've been quite adamant to get it done to be good. So the first version of it is in, so I think it should be the last version as well, but we'll see.
Okay.
Oh, we have Ian here. Hi, Ian.
Yes.
Ian is
Hi,
our
Ian.
great member of the CloudFormation community and an AWS hero. Hello. I did some CloudFormation stuff for reInvent, so should be fun.
Yeah. Sorry, let me just quickly drop a message here. Because I am getting a live call, which I can't take.
A call?
Yes.
Don't you block off your calendar these times?
I do. Sometimes it's just an instant call, so no worries. And speaking of tea, I was just telling Doc before we start, this is my current tea situation because I was making tea and the kettle was a bit slow, and I realized it's 30 seconds before we go live, so I ran to my room to start off with a mug and 2 tea bags. Yay.
You can at least sniff the coffee now. So
Yes, I can at least do that. Okay. Yeah. So the other interesting things that we should probably get, or just quickly tell people about that have joined us, is that we've got the upcoming AWS Modern Application Dev Day, which is definitely something you would want to attend. The Dev Days are events that we host for the deeper dive sessions. So we focus on level 300 and 400 as we classify them in terms of talk. So hands-on keyboard, lots of console, lots of showing you how to do things and explaining and diving deep into exactly what are the details that we normally don't cover if we're doing a light, hey, this is how roughly what the servers do type of talks. I'll quickly grab a link for that and I'll put that on there. But Darko, why don't you give us a little taste of what you're going to be speaking about?
So I'm delivering actually two hopefully wonderful talks at the Dev Day. One of them is about the developer tools on AWS, and the other one is about some advanced concepts with AWS CDK. One of the things that I'm going to talk about when it comes to developer tools, usually when people talk about developer tools, they kind of boil it down like, oh, so this is your CI/CD pipeline. These are all the elements that you can push your code through your pipeline successfully, test it, all the stuff, right? I kind of took a bit of a different approach in this case. I've completely ignored the pipeline. Like for me, pipeline is something that exists, should exist, don't worry about it. Let's talk about some other things that kind of are supplementary to the pipeline or around the pipeline itself. So I mentioned things like how to properly do things with your text editor, usage of AWS toolkits to help you basically run, test, debug your serverless applications straight from the comfort and the coziness of your lovely text editor. And also, on top of that, I talked about one of the things that people kind of, for some reason, like don't talk about enough. But when you do software delivery, when you deploy software via pipeline, whatever, you need to set it up properly so you can get information back. So doing things like X-ray, logging, metrics on serverless applications, it's very important, and how to do it properly. So I basically shared like the, what is it called, the AWS power tools for Lambda, written by a great team of ours. So basically helps to implement like tracing and logging and all those things in Lambda. On top of that, I did talk about Code Guru, the thing that does some recognition of potential, well, where you can improve your code and those kind of things, right? So yeah, that's something I did, at least on that part.
Nice. My one is fun. I'm getting to play a little bit with the autoscaling groups again, specifically how to use multiple different spot pools and how do you set that up so it actually spreads the risk if, let's say, one spot pool starts getting depleted and you would normally get terminations, how to then balance it across multiple different spot pools in a cost-efficient way that you can still keep your SLAs. I went for I think the longest title of the entire event. It's I think 3 or 4 lines long on my intro slide, so I'm not going to do that again. But yeah. Wow. Quick question here from Alex Smasher: is serverless days today? I actually have no idea. It's a very good question.
I've not seen anything about that topic. I mean, most likely, sorry, not most likely, but could be, because hey, serverless days happen all over the place, and they're not actually managed by AWS. We have a massive serverless community out there, so yeah. Hey Graham, hi.
Yeah, hey, yeah, Graham, welcome to. I'm so jealous. I want coffee or tea.
You can go. I'll entertain the people. Maybe even send them a good link to register somewhere.
Oh no. We are not doing that. And just if you are, I'm ready. It actually has money in it now.
I'll pay for this link. That's fine.
No. It is fine. It's okay. We can do without that. And for those wondering, we have got a friendly competition going on with the modern app development day or dev day that's coming up. You can see the link down below. And Darko and myself are doing this at the moment at the top. So
trying to see who can get the most people referred to the dev days. So depending on who you like more. Or I don't know.
I'm sorry, Darko's having technical difficulties. We can't hear him. Something happened. I honestly don't know what happened. It must be some streaming on your side.
I don't know. It's a problem. I think. Yeah. Maybe if I paste this link in the chat, it will go away.
No. You see, I should help you with that quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to my Twitter page handle somewhere. There's a link.
No.
I made 2 videos for you. 2 videos.
Just 2. I was even nice. I gave you the teaser trailer shot to do.
Thank you, Kobus. Thank you, Kobus. But in any case, it's kind of a thing. It's kind of a thing. Like no matter who wins, the other person gets beer, so it's fine. Everybody wins at the end.
Yes. Yeah. So I see we've got a couple of new people that have joined in the last few minutes. So welcome to today's session of the AWS Africa Office Hours, which is not just limited to Africa. We welcome everybody from everywhere. And how the session works is that we do it live. So we are answering questions as they come along, or as they don't come along, we talk about random tech and random things that we are working on, random things we're doing. And we were just talking a little bit about the upcoming Dev Day that we are hosting, focusing on modern app development. So things like infrastructure as code, automation, event sourcing, etc., serverless, whole bunch of topics. There are 12 sessions, I believe, for the day, including
sessions,
keynotes. Yeah. So quite a lot of content.
3 tracks. Yeah.
Yes. And don't worry, you can actually, we will make the content available afterwards, so you don't have to say, oh, I want to watch 2 sessions at the same time and have 2 screens running with 2 sets of audio. That confuses you. Yeah, we will make the videos available.
Yeah, so you can watch them after the fact. So, I mean, I think you only need to register there. Just, I mean, I'm not sure what channel they're going to be available on. A channel, wow. What location they're going to be available on, but just register for the event, and you will be receiving emails after as well. So, hey, these are the recordings, so you can watch. Hello, Flowlight. Flowlight.
Yeah, welcome. And yeah, so let me think about interesting things that I've been working on in the last week or so. It's also one of those, like, this is one of those weeks where I'm not even sure what day it is. I'm assuming it's Thursday because we're doing this live stream, but I literally had to check my calendar this morning.
For me, the week went really fast. So I have not actually played around with a lot of tech besides preparing some presentations. Everything else was just like just a complete blur. I did go to the office like for the first time since
You
March.
saw people?
I saw people. There was people. We had a big flu vaccination in the Berlin office, and there was actually, like, the office was almost full. It was amazing. I mean, it was okay, Corona and stuff, but it was so I got to see humans. So that was really good. But I must say, like, one of our user groups over in Cyprus. So in the lovely Mediterranean, they had a user group meetup, and they did it in person.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Cyprus is okay regarding COVID, and they basically had a chance to, like, organize it, and I just dropped in virtually, and I was like, oh, I was so jealous, like, I want to be there with people. But yeah. Hey, Ian. The AWS perspective.
Yeah.
It's actually like a solution, right? It's a solution. It's not a service. It is a solution. I have not played with it. Apparently, Ian, my understanding of that is it kind of groups your resources. It also groups their kind of logical connections to each other, and gives you the ability to create diagrams. So it doesn't create the diagrams for yourself. It's not like a one-click solution that you're like, oh, it will create the perfect architecture diagram for me, but it actually presents you all the building blocks. I have not had a chance to play with it. That's something I really want to check out, because I did talk about it in my podcast on Monday. So I do really want to see how it all works. Apparently, it's a bit expensive. That's somebody told me. Like, it's now this is me speaking about not verifying it, but it should be a bit more expensive. Like, so. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the overview quickly. Actually, let me pop that on screen. Give me a second. Sure. And we can take a look at it, because it's something I'm interested in as well. Oh, wait, there's no screen to share yet. Share screen. That looks like the right one. And boom, there we go. Cool. So here we go. So I'm on the overview of the actual service. And it allows you to do this kind of diagramming. This is actually quite nice, especially if it does this for you. And I'm curious now to see about where the pricing is. Let's see if we can find pricing quickly. AWS perspective pricing. Let's see. Maybe one of these two has it. What can you do? It draws sample diagrams. This is actually quite nice, being able to see. Because that's one of the challenges with the AWS account, and why this is cool is that you can actually, visualize. Yeah. Because often there's so many different building blocks all over the show that it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ian is experienced. Ian is actually the creator of Console Recorder and CloudFormer, or actually Former 2. So those are his tools. He built those things to kind of scour your AWS account for resources and create CloudFormation templates, or actually infrastructure as code templates, or code snippets from those things. So I think this is very close to your heart, Ian. So this kind of does the same thing, but it doesn't create code. It actually exactly. Steal ideas, steal all the way. If we can get good open source tooling, such as your tooling, improved by this, buddy, go ahead.
Yeah.
I would love to see
definitely.
that. I would love to see that. And I also use your former and console recorder quite often in like some of the presentations I do. I like show it off on screen, and that's usually the wow moment for people. And when you show them console recorder, like, that thing generated CloudFormation. So yeah. So keep up the good work.
What I'm thinking is, when you decide on Former to actually release the next version, what you need to call it is Ladder.
Ladder. Yes. Ladder.
Yes. Yeah. So while I've got Darko giggling here, for those that have joined us, I see we've got a bit of a bump now in the last few minutes. We are answering technical questions today, or talking about random tech in general. So please throw questions at us. This is quite a fun one. Applying for solution architect serverless role at AWS Madrid. Any advice? This can be a long discussion. So first off, and this is not any like secret private information, is just be aware that when AWS does interviews, we do it the same way we in general operate during the day, which is we operate on data points. So when we're chatting to you during the interview to get information out, we want concrete data points. Like, for example, I did this or I did that. We don't. There are situations where we'll ask you some questions where we go, hey, listen, what do you think about that? Or, if given this scenario, what do you think is happening, or how would you approach that thing? We do ask those questions. But typically what we want to extract is we want those specific hard data points. We don't want subjective information, which is also interesting why we verify your work history in terms of where you've worked, but we don't ask for references, because references are way too subjective. And then the fun comes in terms of the preparation. Go look at our leadership principles. We are using them on a day-to-day basis. So what will happen there is that during the interview, you'll get a question around things like, hey, given a scenario where you didn't have all the data available to you, how did you make a decision? What was the decision, and what was the outcome?
Exactly.
And we'll also frame them in the positive. So, for example, we'll ask, hey, when you didn't have all the data, you made a decision. Tell us about a time where it goes wrong. So prepare those kind of scenarios and go look at the leadership principles. Think about scenarios and things you've done before, that you've been in, because that's what we're interested in. We want to hear those stories. Yeah. So that's one of, I think, the best preparation points.
We want stories. We want your experiences. We want to see how you did it. Again, one part is technical, absolutely, right? People get you to understand how you do tech. Also, for solution architects, we have, it's not a secret, we have a thing called, how is it called? I forgot about it. It's a essay assignment. Basically, you get an assignment, like a thing to solve, and then you solve it both technically, and you have to tell us how to do it as well. Like, you have to, it's a mock thing for a customer, right? So you have to have proper wording. You have to properly address the problem, because it's not just about knowing how to solve problems. It's also very important to know how to translate what you did. And it's not like, well, it just works now. Just don't worry about it. That's not how people do it. So I would advise you, like, my biggest advice is, like, keep the customer in mind. Okay, besides the technical stuff, right? Keep the customer in mind. Go through the leadership principles, as Kobe said, as Ian mentioned as well. Those are very important.
So no, it's I was going to say one more thing now it slipped my mind.
I'm sorry.
Have a very good example of where you were customer obsessed, because that's also one of the big criteria for us, because we all care about our customers very, very deeply, and we want to know, where did you go over and above to actually help out a customer. And obviously there are various ways. Oh, that's what I want to say. So if you do get a question we aren't certain about the answer, make that clear as well. So what we value, because one of the leadership principles is around being able to make decisions with not all the data, as well as being right a lot. And what we mean with that is that we often have to make these guesses about things. So answer the question, well, I'm not 100% sure about this, or I haven't done that before, but with what you've told me, I would try the following X, Y, and Z. Because once again, we're interested in your thought pattern. We want to see how you approach problems, those kind of things.
that is very important. So again, it's not all just like, oh, tell me what X is or Y is. We want to see even your thought process. We want to see how you solve problems and also how you deliver the solutions to those problems. Because one of the things about I used to be a solution architect. One of the things about being a solution architect is the ability to discuss things with customers. So you have to have an outward perspective as well. So you need to be able to communicate properly, and also being able to give customers basically opinions, because it's not just a matter of like, oh, well, you can try this or you can try that. You have to be right a lot. You have to be the thought leader here. You have to tell them, hey, this is the best way you should do it because X, Y, and Z. So,
yeah. Question here around, will AWS expand more into other countries in Africa? And that question I'm going to answer with two parts to it. The first part is when we start looking at the AWS region. So the Cape Town region, for those not aware, launched on the 22nd of April this year. And that's the first region in Africa. And in general, we're always looking to add more regions across the world, and we hope to have a region in every country, and multiples in some countries, and where it makes sense.
Yep.
And when we do pick where we're going to build our regions, some of the considerations are like, how many people do we actually reach with geographically with a specific region, and what's the market like, etc. And as you can imagine, there are a whole longer list of considerations available, or that we actually do to evaluate things. And part of that means that we have to pick. We can literally not say, let's start building in every single country. That is just too big an investment. And also not just from a money perspective, but from a time perspective. Because remember, our data centers are typically built from the ground up. We don't just roll in a rack and say, well, we're co-hosting. So yeah, because we've learned a lot of things over the years. Because remember, AWS was the first cloud, and we've been building for 14, 15 years now. And during that time, we've learned a lot. And yeah. And then the second part of the question there is, if you're referring to our developer and other services, or other, how should you call them? Let's say employment-related engagements, because in Cape Town alone, we've got the Dev Center, where we've got people actually building on EC2 as well as on some of the networking and some of the other services in Cape Town. So if you are a software developer in South Africa, definitely go check that out. We've got some very interesting jobs available. But then also, obviously, there are some data center jobs available, because we've got 3 availability zones, and those are at least 3 data centers. I actually don't even know if we've got more than 1 per availability zone at the moment here in Cape Town. And just clarify that our 1 availability zone isn't just 1 data center. It can be more than 1. And our biggest one, I think, is 14 data centers last time I checked. So we've got that. Then we've got the Dev Center, which is like lots of software development. Then we've got premium support, which helps customers build and figure out technical challenges they have in the thing. We've got the cloud engineers, and then I know we have some. So those are all AWS related ones. Then we have some Amazon ones as well. I know we've got a call center. We've got some auditors for some questions. I've seen some things about Kindle and Goodread, etc. So we've actually got quite a lot happening here in Cape Town with regard to dev centers and things. And I'm sure they're looking at other locations in Africa as well. I actually don't know anything concrete at this point, but I mean, we're always looking for places where we can expand to. So there's a chance they're already looking at it. Ian, just quickly, let me pop this up here. 14 data centers in the AZ, yes. And also as part of that, a factoid statement, our largest data center has got more than 300,000 servers in it, just if you want to get an idea of scale. So yeah, the AZs can get quite big, to put it mildly.
Quite big, yep.
Yeah.
I remember once a long time ago, like 2016, I remember that one AZ in US East 1 had over, like one AZ, multiple DCs, had over 1 million hosts. So
yeah, no, that's
but like, so one of the things when we talk about such big numbers, it's how often things fail in those things. Like not just like things are bad, but it's like percentage wise, if you had 4 million spinning disks, you get like one fail every hour or something like that, because just it's statistics, right? So it's ridiculous. Like it's just amazing. I'm a fan of that.
So I was reading an article, and it was No, it was actually a talk from ScaleConf from one of the engineers from the SCAR project, which is the square kilometer array that we have here in South Africa. So I think they're aiming for 64 or 128 antennas in total, radio antennas.
Wow.
And they were talking about the new storage solution that they have on site to actually capture some of the data. And it was, I don't know how many hundred of drives. And it literally took them just to screw the drives into the brackets, something like 3 days nonstop, just in terms of like doing all of that. So it's like, wow.
Well, I can imagine that AWS doesn't. That we don't do like building racks locally. We just get racks finished somewhere else, and they just ship. I don't know. Like I mean, thinking about the scale of the things, right? So
yeah, I have no idea, but I can imagine like a truck with hard drives pitching up every day, pretty much at the moment. That would be.
In a former company I used to work for, we used to have like a guy who would destroy hard disks. That was his job, like just destroying storage. And he had like an axe in the back and like a blowtorch and like. Michael Seymour.
Yes, you can. I can confirm this, but I've actually, and this is a fun fact, I have not worked on AWS without a beard ever.
Likewise. So I don't know. I cannot. Out of personal experience, I don't know if I can work with AWS without the beard, but I know that there are people without beards who work with AWS. So I'm pretty sure it's not a legend. You can work with it, but I'm not sure if I would be able to. So. Maybe I just lose all my knowledge with the shave.
Yeah, I'm too scared. Also, I don't even know if I've got a chin anymore because I have not seen my chin in a decade. Who knows what's in here?
Yeah, might be another AZ, right? So you never know. You're the local zone. The Coba's the local zone.
Indeed, yes.
Speaking of local zones, have you ever had a chance to like play around with local zones or dig more deep into those things?
No. I still need to.
It's a weird thing because we have a few of them. I think 2 of them, like one in Osaka, if I understand correctly, or is Osaka a local zone? Is it like
No. So Osaka
Los Angeles
was
is a local zone.
Yeah, Los Angeles was a local zone. Osaka was a
region.
I got these confused at one point. It's not a local zone. It's something else where we only had one AZ due to size constraints, but Osaka has since actually gotten 2 more zones and is now a full region. Last time I checked.
Okay. Yeah. Because I recall when Frankfurt launched, it was just 2 AZs in Frankfurt, and that was a problem. But a long time ago. So but LA, the Los Angeles single zone, not the single zone, the local region. It's interesting because it's kind of connected to the U.S. West too, the San Francisco zone. Not San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco. So it is weird, but because like there's not all the services available there. Like it's limited in services. But if you need a lot of things closer to Los Angeles, it's just a great thing to do.
Yeah. So for those who want to understand how that works, is that it's not quite an AWS outpost that we put, but it's sometimes you've got workloads that are latency sensitive and you need to be closer to them. And now when you put, so for example, if you don't want to go the outpost route, I do believe those can be quite a significant distance from the actual region, which means you can put an outpost, for example, in the factory floor, and then you've got like sub-millisecond responses between whatever's running on there and your infrastructure, physical infrastructure in the factory floor type thing. And then obviously from there, you do the control plane sitting inside the region, and it connects to that control plane, and that's how you manage it. And it shows up like an additional availability zone inside your account.
I mean, now with the outpost, people have like the ability to do S3 now on Outpost since last week. So if you are running Outpost, or if you're interested in running Outpost, you can actually run them, run S3 on them, not just EC2 and RDS. You can also do S3.
Yeah. So popping up the next question, which is a fun one, which is the biggest stumbling block for solution or for your SA clients to move the existing workloads from other regions to Africa 1. It sometimes becomes a question of whether or not they need to move it, which might sound weird because remember the region itself offers specific advantages with regard to latency, data residency requirements, regulatory requirements, etc. So if let's say you have your entire workload running out in one of the other regions, unless one of those applies, we almost want to say, well, there's no specific reason that you want to move. Obviously, we want people to use the region as much as possible. So one of the stumbling blocks, given that it's a newer region, it might not have all the services deployed to it just yet. The reason for that is that when we launch a region, we don't on day one have all 212 plus services running inside that region yet. We do rolling rollouts. And that allows us to obviously make sure that the services are working properly. And there's quite a lot going on behind the scenes to get some services out. So it's not just a case of, click button, boom, it's there. And because of that, there might not be service parity yet for those things that people want to launch. So that's one of the things we've seen that might not be available yet. But like I said, it also, and sometimes it actually has been, for example, people moving from their current installations, which are not in AWS, into AWS, is a skills shortage, is that they know they want to move, but they don't have enough people that can help them and move fast enough. But I mean, other than that, there's no real other reason that prevents you from moving it. Cool. We've got another fun question over here.
Okay.
Cool. Say you've got a payload of JSON 2 megs requests. Requests are coming in a streaming fashion. That payload needs to be passed out to 40 tables in Redshift. Would you simply have a service write insert update straight to Redshift? If so, is there a scale of requests per second that would make you change your approach? So for this kind of payload, I would definitely say take a look at Amazon Kinesis Firehose.
Yeah.
Yes. Because how Kinesis Fire? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Continue.
I mean, you can stream the data not straight to our, even like depending on the volume of data and the amount of data. Instead of streaming data straight to Redshift, you can actually stream it to S3, and then Redshift can actually use S3 as one of its storage thanks to Redshift Spectrum.
Yeah, so just there are two parts to that. The first one is if you are streaming to Redshift, you have to set up an S3 bucket to be able to handle. So it goes ingestion, S3, Redshift. And what you can do is in that middle part is you can actually have transformations and logic running to actually transform the data as it streams in. Or like Darkino said, you can just go, instead of going to Redshift, you can just go directly into S3. Because remember, the two ways then, once you have it in S3, that you can actually access it. The one is by having Redshift do queries directly on S3, which is able to do now federated queries, or you can have it actually import the data from S3 into there, or you can use AWS Glue to actually do the transformations from your S3 buckets into Redshift and do whatever ETL transformations you do. So there are quite a few ways to actually do that. But like I said, the main thing is that I would definitely recommend taking a look at Kinesis Firehose, because this is literally what it's built for, is being able to ingest at scale. And it's one of the serverless services where it's per consumption base. It's not got a flat running fee or anything like that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's confirmation over here.
But I may need to transfer data before placing it to Redshift S3. I mean, you can do ETL with Glue, I think, in transit. You can do Kinesis to Glue and then use that to transform your data. So yeah.
Yeah. So let me quickly bring up another question around Govcloud and FedRAMP. This should be a further one. In Govcloud,
neither of us are U.S. citizens, so
yes. So let's just quickly, yeah. So I think FedRAMP is an additional requirement on top of where you're running. So I think that the best advice I can give you over here is definitely log a support ticket, because how that'll work is they'll then pass it on to the correct people, and you'll get a definitive answer.
Correct.
So,
there are some like, especially when it comes to availabilities, and I think FedRAMP scope is a bit different than doing something in vanilla GovCloud, right? I guess because of the requirements. I know that the U.S. federal agencies and governments are very strict when it comes to those things, so that's why they are separate. There's a good reason behind that. So and you can expect that if some service is missing, for example MSK, it will eventually, as they say, in the fullness of time, come also into the FedRAMP scope. So.
Yeah. But also, if it's something, please reach out to your solution architects or account managers, because we've got an internal system where we actually log these requests as they come in. And the more requests we have, the more validation there is to actually focus on that. Remember, our roadmap is driven by customer requests. So the more people asking for something, the higher the chance that it'll be bumped up and get done sooner. So please do that.
Yep.
Cool. Let me quickly just double check this.
I've never had a chance to like play around with GovCloud. Have you ever do you have access to GovCloud at all, or no? Is it like
no, I haven't. Yeah. I actually have no idea.
Yeah.
We should try and get someone who knows public sector to come answer the question for us at some point.
But it's amazing that like the U.S. government agencies can actually have their own separate piece of AWS for those things because it's very important. So it is pretty cool. And I know like I have a few people who work with some of the government agencies on behalf of AWS and like work with them like in the public sector, and it's like very strict. Like no electronics, like knows those kind of like it's very very cool. Like it's very like spy novel-ish. Amazing.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Yeah, so let me quickly just double check over here. I don't see any more questions, but please keep the questions coming. We can, like I said, talk about random tech and hopefully answer your questions as quickly as possible. We had a fun one yesterday in the EMEA Developer Advocate AMA session, Darko, that I think you will have some interesting answers for. Is what is your list of, or some of your favorite games? And then also, what are some of your favorite games from at least 10 to 20 years ago?
So I can say I can give a very simple example. Like I'll answer what my favorite game is, and it's the game I played the most in my life, and I've been playing games since I was like a really small kid. It's Minecraft. Like I literally spent the most time in my life playing Minecraft, and I still do. Minecraft is my game where I want to relax. So I spin up Minecraft and just play Minecraft for hours on end, and that's kind of like a thing that I can easily relax. But if we're gonna go pre-Minecraft world, that would definitely have to be, I would say Civilization. Civilization. I spent numerous days, ages. So actually, Civilization and Transport Tycoon. So I believe I actually spent like an entire summer playing Transport Tycoon. Literally, like school ended in June, and like until like September 1st, I was just like nonstop playing Transport Tycoon on PC, right? And yeah, DKC2 for mine, yeah, absolutely. DKC2 was is for this little thing here. It's the best Super Nintendo. No, sorry, second best Super Nintendo game ever.
Ooh, what's the best game?
Let me bring it. I'll bring some stuff.
Okay, cool. So while Darko is going there, so I think the game that I've logged the most time on probably is I think Fallout 3. I remember at one point looking, and I had 160 hours logged before doing any of the main quests, which is quite a lot of fun because it's just like this random open world that you can run around in. And I'm just telling them about Fallout 3. And the thing that I found the funniest is there's a specific, it's one of those, because it's post-apocalypse US based, and there's a bridge, and then under the bridge there's a little room that you can get into, and it's known as the clown room. And when you get in there, there's a little dead clown in the corner, just a skeleton with like a clown hat, and I think a nose is still on, and then the entire room is pretty much filled with like traffic cones. And it's just like, wow, weird. So yeah,
I played Fallout 3. I finished it on Xbox actually. I never was a big fan of Fallout before, so I'm not into the lore too much. But the best game for Super Nintendo is this one, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. This is I'm not saying it's objectively the best game. I'm saying it's my favorite game. So people may vary, but Transport Tycoon Deluxe.
Oh yeah.
So this is the game. This is for, I think it's
Microprose games.
Microprose, yeah. It's for DOS. This one is for DOS, yeah. So I love these big boxes because you have these requirement stickers on them. If I can get it. So you need at least 4 megabytes of RAM.
4 megs of RAM. Oh wow. Yeah. DOS 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really an old blast.
And this is Civilization 2. This is the one I've played the most. I
think I also played that one like a lot.
Yeah. This one, I've had the Windows version, the Windows 95 version. I think this is, is this the Windows 95 version? I'm not sure. But yeah,
just quickly, Darko, Wapples is saying you've got some nice pants.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's the Incredible Hulk pants. So thank you.
Cool. We actually have a question here quickly. Let's. It's just. It's just a response saying yeah. Okay, I'll pop that on the screen which is awesome. Thank you, Dream Warfare, for that response as well. Yeah, we as you can see, we get very excited about games. So I actually haven't been able to play games much the last while, purely just because of now having a second kid. So obviously, young kids need a lot of attention. So In the evenings, I tend to catch up on work and also try and catch up on sleep. But one game that I did play before our first child was Factorio, and I played it for only one day. The reason was that happened to be an 11 or 12-hour session, and I realized this is not the kind of game that I can play, because otherwise it's going to be like 2010 where I discovered WoW, and both myself and my wife actually started playing WoW, and we were in the same house and we spoke a lot online, but I mean, we logged a lot of hours, and that's just like, okay, no.
Oh man.
Oh no, Graham. Two and bust. We're done. Two is more than enough. They are a handful. They run around. And the second one's now starting to walk, which is that fun time where they know kind of how to balance, but they don't know about stairs. And yeah, no, thank you.
So speaking of Factorio, if you want to incorporate Factorio into your job, I have an idea, and I've been trying to make this work. Do IoT with Factorio. There's a mod for Factorio that all machines in Factorio can output to MQTT.
No, Docker, no.
Greengrass, MQTT.
No. As I was told yesterday, no is a full sentence.
Okay.
No. But getting a little bit back more to AWS, this is actually a fun question. Underappreciated hidden AWS service features.
Drift detection and CloudFormation. It's an underappreciated. Nobody talks about it enough. I think drift detection is very powerful when you want to monitor it for changes in your CloudFormation stacks. That's one great feature. It's not terribly old. It's like maybe 2 years old. It is very, very, very cool. And I think one more thing that I would like to add to this, but it's also CloudFormation related. It's CloudFormation custom registry, or CloudFormation registry. So it is custom resources built up from the ground up. It is difficult to use, I agree, but it is, I would say, one of the most powerful features of CloudFormation now, because you can literally do anything with it. So you can program to provision your Raspberry Pis at home. You can provision it to turn on your lights at home if you want with CloudFormation. So if you're interested with that, you can turn on your lights and heating with CloudFormation, if you would like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds, yeah. I mean, my one is, it's a slightly boring one, but I've done a couple of blog posts and talks about it, is the role switching capability inside AWS. Because that completely blew my mind when I finally actually understood how it is that you can access multiple different AWS accounts as if they are a single, well, not quite a single account, but you only see the one account at a time, both in the console and when you run commands in the command line, which means you don't have to mess around with multiple sets of logins. So I really like that. And also the other one that I think is more like a underutilized resource and service is code build. The reason is that, yes, it's used to build code, but just remember, this is a virtual machine that you can spin up and run a container or do anything pretty much. Yes, well, you can do a container on a container, which gets very meta, because then is it Docker in Docker or Docker outside Docker? Who knows?
You can run. Oh, you know what you can do? You know what people do in code build? They test Lambda functions. So you basically run a container within a container that emulates a Lambda function.
Yeah. There's so many things you can do. I mean, even some people have done it to actually do batch things, because what you do is you create a Git repo connected with a code build job, and then you just update the build file with whatever it is you want to do, commit, push, boom, there it runs. Probably the least type of infrastructure you have to do to run code, other than, although, caveat, with a full operating system, so you can execute almost any command. Obviously, with a Lambda, you can just, put some code and click run. But yeah.
Fair point. Yeah, I would agree with Ian here. CloudWatch service lens and Aurora Lambda triggers. Those are kind of like things I have not played around with, but they have a lot of reason behind them and a lot of good use cases. So
yeah,
pretty cool. Like, make sure, and this is also a good thing that when you look at services, or when you have a specific problem on AWS you want to solve, check, is there a feature of a service that exists for that? And when I say check, I don't mean just Google. Look into the documentation. Sometimes the documentation doesn't get indexed very good, right? So think about what thing you're trying to solve. Think about what effort you want to put it in doing it yourself, rather than just using a feature from service. So from a service. So. Oh, I had a discussion with somebody yesterday. Well, I didn't have a discussion. I've gave them an answer, and I've added in my discussion. Somebody claiming that cloud is no good because the only thing that makes companies better is their own unique infrastructure. And I'm biased. I'm biased like crazy. But
well, I mean, look, there's a place in the market for having unique dumpster fires as well. I mean, you're.
Okay, no, I agree.
I mean, that might have come across as very negative, but it's just one of those. I know I struggled initially with it because you've got this internal. Our IT people are better than anyone else. I mean, we're good at this. We don't need anyone else to help us, and we don't want to, rely on anyone else. We want to build everything ourselves.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand when people say like, my infrastructure is better than the cloud. I understand when you say that if you're an engineer, because we take pride in what we build. And like when I set up my, I don't know, my Raspberry Pi cluster, and I was like, I feel so great. Like that's better than running T4G instances. Why would I ever do that? Because I made this myself. But that's the fallacy. It's not. It's amazing what you did. Congratulations. Pat on the back. But there are better ways to do it. So yeah.
Okay. So here's another fun one. We often get this one, and we have got different answers, but I do have a single answer that will definitely work.
It depends. Oh, wait.
Oh, Darko's got a printout.
It's CDK. Unless you don't know how to program. You have never done any programming languages. And a few other things.
Let's just clarify that and dig into that a little bit. So if you look at the AWS CDK, it actually spits out CloudFormation under the hood, and how you interface with it is via a programming language, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, C#. You can even use F#, and that means that you define your infrastructure in actual code. So it feels like code. It does code. For loops, those basic constructs that you normally deal with in whatever language you pick are available to you, which means that it's familiar if you've done that kind of programming before. If you haven't, then I'd say take a look at both CloudFormation and Terraform. But then also I'm biased because I used Terraform for 6 years or 5 years. And I would highly recommend, because it's JSON-like syntax. The syntax itself is not that complex. It's got a lot of built-in functions. And I know CloudFormation has probably got the most power, but also it's got a very steep learning curve. So, but once again, test at least 2 of these. If just pick which 2 sound the best to you, play with both of them, see which one clicks. Because you'll immediately say, this feels more like the way I think and the way I operate, which is why we've got a lot of different tools for this.
Yeah. I mean, I repeated this a bunch of times, but the best programming language is the one you know. So, and let me pull my star up. So when it comes to CloudFormation and CDK, CDK is very easy to write if you ever done any scripting, if you've done programming, if you've done those things, because it makes sense for you. But if you have never done so, if you just came from an operations world and you have no experience in scripting, it's easier to write and read YAML for CloudFormation than it is to do CDK. So that's my opinion. Now, CDK has other benefits. It's much easier to share CDK. It's much easier to have other people implement your CDK than it is with vanilla CloudFormation, because it's much more, reusable. Let's call it that way.
Okay. But just quickly adding the second part of the question that we got from Dreamwolf is CDK versus the SDK. So CDK is the cloud development kit, and SDK is an SDK for AWS in different languages. So the SDK basically wraps all of the HTTP calls that you would make against our endpoints to accomplish certain things like spin up an instance, etc. So the difference between SDK versus CDK is that CDK actually understands dependency management in terms of, if I create the following list of resources, how do I pass things from the one to the other one? Where if you use SDK, you have to literally say, okay, do the call to create an EC2 instance, get the data back, do the next call. They have to be in sequence. You have to make sure that everything is there. And also, if you change something, remember, it's imperative. It's just going to run through that every single time like that in a loop, and possibly create more instances, where with CDK, it actually knows that and keeps track via the CloudFormation CloudFormation state in the background, what it created, and that's how it keeps track of it. So it's a completely different approach to creating infrastructure.
Yeah. So again, I would argue in this case that SDK to create infrastructure would be a problem because you need to find a way to manage it after the fact. SDK is great for if you want to do some atomic interactions with AWS. Is that the correct term? Is atomic the right thing here? But
Yeah,
basically
single
just
unit, yeah.
yeah. So it's just doing something one off, or hey, not something you have to care about. So like you can use the SDK to read stuff off DynamoDB or write into a DynamoDB, or you can use the SDK to. I think now you can do Redshift with SDK, so that's amazing. There's an API for the SDK for Redshift to interact with the data, or those kind of things, right? But using CDK would be basically to provision something that you need to manage and maintain and tear down and build up and those kind of things. Yeah, mind you, you can do all of those things with the SDK, but it's much
Yes.
more difficult. So don't.
Well, there are no, but there are cases for the SDK. So a demo that I did, that's last year, almost a year ago, specifically on SageMaker and some DevOps automation
Okay.
around machine learning, is that I use the CDK to spin up my notebook instance and connect a GitHub repo to it. And inside that GitHub repo, I had a Jupyter notebook that
Okay.
you loaded. And inside that notebook, I actually imported the SDK to be able to make SageMaker calls, because at that point, yes, you might want to change the value. So when you spin up, for example, the training, it's just code where you can actually set everything up, like pull in the
Okay. No.
data,
No.
etc.,
Okay.
etc.
Yeah.
So there are definite places where you need the one or the other one. So that was
No,
a good.
yeah. So I'm focusing here on the infrastructure provisioning, right? That kind of
Yeah.
provisioning that you're mentioning from the SageMaker, that's temporary infrastructure for training and those kind of things, right? From within the Jupyter notebook, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So let's quickly create all of that on the fly, but I guess it's possible with CDK. Yeah. Remember, there's nothing stopping you from whatever you are using to execute something, to kick off something else. So a Lambda function can kick off a code build job or a code pipeline that kicks off your CDK creation, etc. There are this is the fun with the cloud. Is like there's so many ways to do this, and you can even combine code build jobs with step functions and Lambda. So you can actually do this, then this, then this, then this as the state machine inside step functions to execute this for you.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I also want to mention that I learned about, like I praise CDK a lot and I talk about it a lot, and people may see that like, oh, I know everything about CDK. I don't, and I've learned something new about CDK in the last couple of weeks. And if you want to learn more about it, check out the Dev Day coming up in 7 days.
Oh, yes, I'll put that on. I'll let that one slide.
Okay, you're using your own link, Cobus. It's. Do you want to put up my link? But yeah, so one of the things that you can do in CDK is that people have. So when you create a construct in CDK, which is like a service construct, which is a very opinionated, sensible default way to launch an AWS resource, most people use that. But if there's no support for that, there is a CloudFormation resource as well. But I've learned something that you can actually mix the two. You can augment a service construct with a raw CloudFormation parameter. Like, for example, an EC2 instance does not have an option to do a placement group within CDK, like the service construct. But what you can do, you can actually just import a specific CloudFormation parameter to those things, and during the compilation, it will actually include that in all that. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's very cool. Like you can do those things. So I was
Nice.
quite surprised. And they're called, on the documentation, they're called escape hatches. So it is pretty cool. So you can expand. Yeah, you can expand it even more, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Let me quickly double check. Sorry, I was away from the comments. I see we've got some comments.
We have a lot of Amiga comments. There's actually a presentation deck from one of my colleagues from the UK. He made a presentation deck about. I need to share this once. He made this amazing thing. He was like AWS C64 instances and A500 instances. He made it in this very retro, like a presentation of the new EC2 platform, and it's very retro. It's very UK retro because like he mentions also like the new AWS service video text or teletext. Like it's just amazing. Yeah. Cool. SDK.
What else? Let's see. We are good here. I think questions-wise, we're good. So please keep the question coming. We're happy to, like I said, jump between different topics and try and help you with whatever AWS technical challenges you are currently having. And alternatively, we can, continue rambling on.
So, Cobus, what's your favorite game? What's your favorite game?
favorite game of all time.
Like you need to leave all games out and just play a single game. What is it?
I'd probably want to say Fallout. Just the reason is that A, it's massive open world, and B, there are so many different builds that you can do. In terms of, so I used to be I like snipers because I like long range stealth, and there are builds that you can do that you go up close and personal, like short range. I know Mass Effect back in the day, it was called I can't remember what the term was, but basically is your main weapon was a shotgun, so you always went and bash someone with a weapon and then shoot. That type of kind of game. Or that kind of play style rather, yeah. I know your one is going to be Minecraft, I'm assuming.
Yeah, or Civilization. One of the two. Like I opt not to play Civilization anymore because I don't have the free weekend or the free week to play Civilization. I actually watch people play Civilization. That's my
I think played a decent amount of Civ 5 when we were still traveling, because I bought a Nintendo Switch specifically for traveling and being able to game, because that's the only time I got to game. And that was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
Civ 6, you mean?
But
is it
was it
5 or
6?
I know the Civ 6 is available for Switch. I'm not sure about Civ 5. So
might be 6 then. I must go double check. And what else was there? Oh, and comment from earlier. Yes, Baldur's Gate. I have got the remastered edition inside on my Switch that I still need to play. But for that, I want to play it on a proper monitor, and I haven't had time to actually set things up, because back when I tried to set my Switch up with my 4K screen, which is this one, it wouldn't work. And the other screen that I have over here is not 1080p. And now finally, pointing to the third one, I now have a 1080p screen. It's one of those, like, I'm very hesitant when I buy screens. So this one on the left here is, I want to say 12 years old already.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's like one of those, like, I got the 4K screen 3 years ago, because it was a ridiculous special. It's like normally they are about 8,000 Rand, 9,000 Rand. This one was on special for like 4,000. I think it was end of line. Okay. And it had a decent refresh rate. It's 28 inch. And I was like, well, okay, time I'm going to invest in this. So, yeah.
Man, no. I have 500
Don't talk about
lines.
screens.
I have 500 lines of resolution here. What else do you need? That's it. The resolution of this monitor is 500 lines from the center, officially. So,
yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. One day I'll have a screen. I've been, but I mean, it's one of those things. So for me, screens is like really, I would love to have like one of these super wide ones. Like I think it's a Samsung G9. It's a 49-inch massive thing.
I almost bought it.
Yes, but for me, it's like I always go like, I can't justify that. I mean, it's like I would love to. It's like I would love to buy a Ubiquiti Dream Machine, which is about 7,000 Rand here. It's just an awesome piece of tech. But when I put it down and when I go on a piece of paper and I go like, what are all the things you'll get when you put this in that you don't currently have?
Exactly.
The list has nothing. So I'm going like,
yeah, I know. The same thing. Like I almost got the G9. Like I was like really tempted to buy it because it was just so cool. But I already have like a 43-inch 4K screen in front of me, and what would I do with this? Like put it next to me? So no. So it's
no.
While we're talking about random tech, we have actually people discussing proper AWS Lambda
I love
frameworks. Micronaut. I never played with Micronaut. I heard about it, but never played around with it. I know that I've spoken to one of our data heroes, Goran. He actually showed me how to do it with what is that framework for compiling Lambda functions? I forgot. Not Lambda functions, Java. It is wow. Okay, never mind. Gradle. Is it Gradle? It's not Gradle. I don't know. Like something.
One of those, yeah. So I just want to point out, Darko, your watch seems to be running slower than normal, because that beep is usually at 10 seconds through the hour, and that was at 20 or 40 seconds through the hour, which is
it's a 10 euro watch. So I think it can skew time. So
it's either a feature watch or it's an analog watch. You have to decide, because it's not a smartwatch.
It's a feature watch. It's the Casio F91W. It's the watch that never dies. It's like it has been made in 1981 and ever since. So and it costs $10.
Cool. And with that, we are on the hour, and It was awesome chatting today, and thanks for everybody for joining us. And remember, we do this every week on the AWS Africa Office Hours show. We also have got a streaming session that Darko and myself do on Mondays and Fridays at 11. So always feel free to drop in. And if you want to see what is coming up when on the live streaming on the AWS channel, I can quickly pop a link on the screen in the last few seconds where you can see the actual schedule. And it's able to do it in your local time zone as well. Let me just do that. Yeah. And there we go. It is now correct. Here's a fun factoid for the week: is we initially had some sessions that were this week specifically was weird because on Mondays the Bean streaming session at 11 a.m. was correct. The Friday one was not correct. Everything from Tuesday was out by 1 hour, and we couldn't figure out what happened there. And then we ultimately traced it to the person who had scheduled them was based in Australia. Australia did their DST change over on 6 October, which meant that the entries, because they entered it from that time zone, then shifted along as well, which is interesting because this year I know Europe's only changing end of October, I think, or November. I know the US is changing in November.
We're changing always at the same time, but I think end of October. I always forget. Like they just tell us, oh, tomorrow is date change or time change. I really am looking forward for that to end. So yeah.
But yeah, and guys, with that, we really need to wrap it up. I apologize for rambling, but thank you very much, and join us again either tomorrow or next week or at any of the other sessions. And thank you, Darko, for joining us.
Thank you, Kobus.
Cool. Okay, ending the broadcast now.